Hello crafty friends, I'm Lynn from Studio Kato and I'm so happy you're back with me today to go over the Spellbinders small die of the month and the 3D embossing folder of the month. I say go over, but this is a tutorial video. I do have another video up today going over all of the cards that I made with the Spellbinders Clubs of the month of January, and just some general information about the Spellbinders Clubs as well, and how to subscribe and all of that stuff. And I'm starting out here with the small die of the month, and I'm actually using the smallest dice of this month's die set to begin with for the first card. I'm just using the two little birds. Now the way this die set is designed, these two birds are meant to sit in the center of the largest flower, and that is absolutely adorable. And I do want to make a card like that at some point, but I had this idea and I thought it would be a fun little different thing to do. So I first die cut 6 or 7 birds, I think it's 6 birds out of colored cardstock. I used a rainbow, and then I used some small pieces of black cardstock to make the eye black. So I just glued that behind the bird, and behind that I added an additional layer of white cardstock just to make them a little bit sturdy. Then I am using the second layer of those birds to layer on top. So I have a light cardstock layer for the first layer of the bird. There is black cardstock behind the eye, and then there is a darker shade of cardstock on top for that second bird layer. Now the final piece of these birds are actually really tiny beaks, and I did die cut those as well out of some yellow cardstock, and I'm using a jewel picker to adhere those with some liquid adhesive as well. Now I am going to use this whole rainbow of birds to peek out from behind a panel of cardstock, and on top of that panel I want a sentiment with hot foil. So I'm using the inside card Glimmer sentiments from Spellbinders, which is a set they released last year, and it is such a fun birthday sentiment set. I really love it, but this one is sort of a sentiment that goes for any occasion. It's just I forgot what it says exactly, but it's something along the lines, the world is a better place with you in it, something like that. I really like sentiments like that. I have a couple of those, and they definitely see some use in my craft room. I'm using the gold satin metallic foil from Spellbinders. This comes in a variety pack, which is called Satin Metallics, a Glimmer foil, and it is stunning. I love the satin metallics from Spellbinders. I'm going to glimmer that right on the edge of the cardstock. It's going to make more sense in a minute. So yeah, this is the piece of cardstock that I'm going to be using, and I'm going to emboss this as well. So after I've glimmered it, I am going to make sure the glimmering is fine. So I had a little bit of overfoiling, and I scrubbed that away with a sand eraser. And then I'm going to spritz this cardstock like I would always do for a 3D embossing folder. So adding a little bit of moisture to your cardstock like this. I do wipe most of it off with some kitchen roll. This just loosens the fibers of the paper, and it's going to make it easier to do some embossing with an embossing folder here, because you're not going to get cracks in your paper, even though this adds a ton of dimension. This is the 3D embossing folder of the month as well, so it's really stunning. I would love to paint this if I have the time before the month is over. It's just so stunning. Now I did this on Neenah Solar White cardstock, which is a very creamy white. I honestly hesitate to call it white. It is very creamy. Yes, this is actually one of the first times I'm using Neenah Solar White cardstock. It's not that easy to find in Europe, so, you know, this is new for me. It's a really nice cardstock, just wouldn't call it white. Anyway, because I foiled and 3D embossed that cardstock and I wanted to have a little window, I wanted that white to match, so I glued a whole panel of Neenah Solar White on top of my card base as well, so all of the whites match here. I like my whites matching, otherwise it looks really clunky. Then I lined up all the birds and I am going to pick those up with a piece of purple tape. I'm just going to pick those up so they are all nicely aligned for when I adhere them down on my card. This is a lot easier to do all at once than just adhering every single bird separately. Now I split that cardstock, and the little panel with the sentiment on top is actually going on the bottom of my card, and I marked where it ends with just some pencil marks. Now I overestimated how visible those would be behind that purple tape. It was actually very hard to see them, and I messed up how I adhered those. I should have adhered them higher. Now luckily, I used some liquid adhesive to adhere these down. I did think about using foam tape. I'm very happy that I didn't. But I could still shift them up a little bit, and that looked a whole lot better. So yeah, just use liquid glue. It saves me a lot of pain in my craft room. It's also a lot cheaper, I think, to use liquid glue instead of foam tape or double-sided adhesive. So once the birds are nice and in place, I am going to prop the embossed panels up. So I split the cardstock there, that panel that I embossed, and I trimmed it down a little bit as well, so it would leave a nice little window for my birds to peek out of. And I am propping them up on just pieces of scrap white cardstock. This is very sturdy, very thick white cardstock, and this is great for adding dimension. You could use cardboard as well, but I find that adds a lot of dimension. So I try to avoid it these days because it requires more postage. So yeah. This is the final card. I really, really love it. I love that sentiment. The world is a better place because you are in it. It's always nice. And I love that rainbow of birds. Now, the biggest die of this die set is that large flower, and it's such a stunner. You can absolutely make a bouquet out of this, but I thought, why not use that 3D embossing folder again? This is called Effervescent Flora, maybe? It's a very weird adjective. I don't know if I've ever seen it before, but I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly either. But yeah, that's what it's called, I think. It will be listed in the description below. And I'm going to make a dark background for this. So I'm using Eggplant cardstock from Concord 9th, which is a stunning purple. And I'm again spritzing that with water to make it a little bit moist, and that just gives such a stunning impression. I really, really like this 3D embossing folder. Now I wanted to add a little bit more, just a little bit more to this panel in the background. So I added just a tiny bit of gold splatter to this. I didn't add this to the entire panel, that would be way too much. Just a little wave of splatter in the center of the cardstock where I knew most of it would be covered up by the flowers. It's mainly just to accentuate the flowers. So it's going to peek out behind it and go a little bit above and below the flowers. It's just a fun little detail, not a full splattered panel. Now, these flowers are really large, so I did add a layer of white cardstock behind pretty much all of the pieces. That is just going to make them look a little bit more sturdy. They are more sturdy as well, so they're going to go through the mail a lot better. I'm going to assemble these flowers off of the card base, and then once they're all assembled, they're not too many pieces. Once they're all assembled, I can bring them onto my card and add some foam tape behind them as well for extra dimension. That large flower has a huge flower center. Again, this should be where the birds are sitting, but I thought just using that large flower on its own was really nice as well. There are more leaves in this die set. There is a little sprig with berries and stuff like that as well. The small die of the month from Spellbinders is actually quite a large die set. Every single time I receive the small die of the month, I'm amazed with how large it is. So this is a really, really nice subscription kit to get. The price point is very worth it. It's you get a lot of bang for your buck with these Spellbinders Club kits, and you don't have to subscribe every single month. If you don't cancel it, you will be subscribed every single month. But you can also just cancel your subscription if you don't like the dies of the month or whatever kit you're subscribed to. So if you don't like it one month, just cancel it. I think you have to cancel before the 5th of each month. I might be wrong. I think it's quite early though. I think it's the 5th. And yeah, you won't be charged and you won't receive the products. And then next month, if you do like the products again, you have from the 5th until the 27th, I want to say, to resubscribe and get those products. Now, if you want to get there quickly, I wouldn't count on getting your subscription kit if you try to subscribe on the 27th. That is cutting it very short there, because those do sell out. These kits sell out each month or pretty much every month. So yeah, you want to get there as early as you can. But this is that final card I made with the small die of the month. I love the little birds. I love the idea of putting them in the flower, but I also just adore the flowers on their own. This is a very fun and versatile die set. Like I said, I really like the Spellbinder subscription kits. I can't believe they asked me to promote them this year. I can't wait to get the rest of them and play around with them, because these have all been so fun this month. I can't wait for the next ones. I hope you liked the cards. I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure to leave a thumbs up on this video. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to check out the description below this video for a whole list of the products. And there is also a link to my blog post for these cards, where there is a visual shopping list, I call it. So all of the products that I used for these cards are listed there with their pictures and links to where you could purchase them. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!